So he's 60, at this height, he would be 65 feet tall. Yeah.
And we have to use that same ratio though, where 1 is 13.
Now, you can change the ratios for, it's whatever is convenient. Yeah. Yeah, Catherine?
What if you're overlooking an ocean and there's slight curvature and you see a boat? Would you have to estimate the boat differently?
If you really wanted to get into it, okay, if you really wanted to get into things like Earth's curvature and stuff like that, there is some very simple math involved. Like you can go onto a website, for instance, like if you're doing, say, some visual development illustration, and it's got an oceanscape, and you've got a ship in the distance. Well, have you ever heard the term hull up or hull down? Okay, it's a sailing term where they would be on the sailing ship and they would say, oh, it's hull down, meaning they could see the sails coming up over the horizon, but they couldn't see the ship itself yet because of the curvature of the Earth. Well, what they could do, they made charts. Mathematicians made charts for the navies at the time that said, okay, if your mast is 40 feet tall, then on the horizon, you're seeing this far. So for instance, if you're standing at the edge of the beach, the water is, your toes are in the water, let's say, and you look straight out to sea, you can see about 3.2 miles if you're 6 feet tall. So you really can't see that far. Not as far as you think. You're only seeing about 3.2 miles before the surface of the ocean curves away from you. Now, if you magnify that, if you go up 100 feet, you can see a lot farther. Think about it this way. Think about how far you can see when you're on the ground, okay, a reasonable distance, and then you go up to 35,000 feet. You can see a few hundred miles in each direction. You get up to the space station, you can see about 1,000 miles. And it's strictly the geometry of how tall you are. So yeah, there's math you can, like if you wanted to figure out, oh, how far away would that be, what would I see? Well, you can calculate it, but it's not really that big of a deal. Yeah. Carolyn? Question? Okay. So you guys, let me show you quickly how I would do the gunfighter thing. Oh, and actually, let me just point out a couple things. So you guys, not to make fun of anyone here, because this is exactly what I expected. So Tacey, do you see what's wrong with this picture?
Yes.
What's wrong with it?
I'm suggesting that the gunfighter's chest is 6 inches.
Yeah, sure. You guys, what this actually is it's a picture of a gunfighter facing off with a gunfighter. This is precisely why we did this, because I see the exact same mistake in graduating student work. And you guys, okay, if you're in Annie 12, hey, it's funny. If this is in your graduating portfolio, that's not funny.
No.
That's tragic. Because any professional production designer is going to catch that and go, oh my God. And even a lot of storyboard people would catch that. And so here's one of the things I want you guys to be able to do. You might think, well, would anyone notice this stuff? That it's actually accurate? You know who would notice it? The layout department. Because they're the ones going to have to build a set based upon your sketch. And their set has to make sense. And then when they can't, if they get your sketch, if they get a story sketch and they can't reproduce it, it makes the story artist look dumb. Because and it also makes the director look dumb because he approved the sketch. And now they have to go back to the director and say, this won't work. Who do you think is going to look bad in that scenario? It's not going to be the director. It's going to, and so this is, you guys, what I want you to be able to do is if you guys have this kind of stuff in your back pocket, if it's just stuff you sketch this way all the time, what will happen is it may not get noticed by most of the people you work with, but it'll get noticed by the people who really are important to impress. You know, which is the people that, I mean, if someone goes to build sets off of your storyboards and everything works out perfectly, they're gonna know you know your shit. You know, and that's gonna be a reputation that's gonna follow you in the industry. They're gonna, oh yeah, that person's really good. Then if you, on top of that, you even know how to suggest things like camera lenses. You know, like, oh, this is a wide angle lens. Oh, this, and you put your vanishing points close together. Oh, this is a long lens, and you put your vanishing points way far apart. You know, this is impressive to the layout people, to the people who are planning the shots, because they can go, wow, this person's really accurate. And it also makes their job easy, because you've done all the work. Otherwise, they need to redo your work, which isn't really cool in a professional setting. So, now here's another, just as another example, and I'm just going to keep using yours, Stacey. I hope you don't mind. I could use any of them probably. So, here's the eye level. Okay, so we have, it's cutting through his waist, and we said we were 100 feet above the town. Okay, now we can do that. Now that's 103, let's say this is 100 feet, okay, so he's standing 97 feet above the town, let's say, okay? But, and you know, and this works out okay, because this is right next to him, but then tell me, how tall are those buildings?
Probably around
Those
60.
Yeah, those buildings are like 50 or 60 feet high. And this is stuff, do you see how easy it is to guesstimate it? That's why I wanted to show it to you, because it's not something that's tough. It's something that you should just have this in all of your sketches all of the time. Similar thing, like if we put an eye level up here, and we say, okay, well, that would be like an 18-foot eye level, let's call it that, just because. All right, but then, again, it's a shorter gunfighter. You know what I mean? And they don't feel like they're in the same space. And then look at this one. You see what I mean? It's the story of the miniature gunfighter. I'm gonna kill you. But even more fun is he also has a miniature horse. You guys, now that you know this, you will walk around this building howling with laughter when you see concept sketches. You know, just try not to laugh too loudly when you look at 117 people. They don't like being made fun of by a 90-12 person. It does worry them though. Okay, so I'm going to quickly do the gunfighter thing. All right. So, you know, can someone? Oh, wait, actually, I guess I can pull it up here. Never mind. Okay, so we have a horse named Bob, a horse named Ben. Classic Western starring Matt Damon as gunfighter A with Ben Affleck as Ben the horse. 4 panels, 15 minutes. Okay, face off. Let's see. Okay, get that out of my way. Get that out of my way. All right. Okay, so panel 1. We have two gunfighters standing in the street. 6-inch eye level for the camera, so I'm going to go like this.
Oh, John.
Yes. Okay. Now I can look at that and I can say, okay, well this is 6 feet tall, so if I go straight across, that's 6 feet tall, that's 12 feet tall, that's 18 feet tall, so one more, yeah, 120, so about there. Go across, same thing, it's 20 feet tall. But notice that it cuts through all the doorways 6 inches up. You see what I mean? Okay, now we need a horse. How tall are horses? Like, let's call them 7 feet. So the horse is going to be a little bit taller. Let's put the horse maybe over here, kind of off the frame. So that'll be like the back of the horse will be right there. Actually, I'm going to turn the horse around. Because Ben the horse likes to watch my thing. Okay, so you guys see that it gives you a sense of the right proportions, right? Now, doesn't it make it better with the music?
Yeah, it sure does.
Okay, now I'm going to do something different on this one. I'm going to do this. Now, why would I do that first? Because that's what I want. I'm 30 feet above him, so now I can go like this. Okay, now this is why this is important. He needs to be 1/5 of this. So now I know how to scale him. I can go, okay. I can get some kind of convergence going like this, and then I want to make sure the street's wide enough. Okay, so now I want to put a 20-foot tall building here, and I've got a 30-foot eye level. That's the height of the buildings. And then I can very easily go, okay, well, if that's the height of the buildings, then there's the doorway. And then here's my horse. See, that's 10. If you sort it up there, it's at the top of the horse. Now look what happens over here. If I get over to this side, this is actually going to have to be the roof of the thing, because if I draw 20-foot tall buildings here, I'm not going to see anybody.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So I'm gonna back up further and just say, well, that's a rooftop. You know. Now, can I do that? Yeah, because I'm not saying where the ground plane is. It's a really wide street, but don't tell it. You know. But so I can say, okay, those guys are, you know, I can even say how far apart they are. Because if they're 6 feet tall, that's, you know, about 25 feet. All right. This next one's kind of the weirdest one, I think. Oh, I gotta, gotta restart the, Okay, so behind over the gunfighter's shoulder, looking down the arm as he aims at gunfighter B and shoots it. So in this case, because I know I have an over-the-shoulder shot, I might just make the eye level what it is, which is just above the shoulder. And so then I would end up putting, say, his shoulder here. And if he's aiming at the guy, you can envision the arm as a cylinder. Now, mind you, no one actually aims like that when it's gunfight, but aims. Now, if this is cutting through his neck, where is it going to cut through on this guy?
His neck.
His neck. And you guys get the idea. This one is really pretty much the same as that one. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next one, but you guys get the idea. The last one, Cemetery Hill. Now this one is kind of fun. Can I do something like this? Yeah, I can, because I haven't said where anything is yet. But if I say, I want my gunfighter up here. And he's smoking. And we said this is about 100 feet up. Now, what's that going to mean about the town? So if I decide, well, I'm going to put the town down here, and he's looking down on the town, well, how tall are the buildings? If this is 100 feet, well, then they're this big. And you can even draw the road going into town.
Where's your level right here?
You're supposed to say 100, I think.
So this is like 80 feet.
They're New York City.
The new word. The new.
You guys get the idea? Yeah.
Could you show one more time how you got the height of
Wait,
the
let me kill
buildings?
music here. What was that?
How you got the height of the buildings in the last one?
Oh, yeah. I basically, if this is my eye level and the buildings are 20 feet tall, I went about a fifth of the way up.
So is that from the entire distance down to the bottom of the frame, or is
Right, because we're looking down into the valley onto the buildings, so we're 80 feet above them. So essentially, I'm doing this. If this is the eye level, I'm going, and this is where I decide to put my buildings, where I only get to go 1/5 of this
Oh, I
distance.
see.
Now if I put them closer, like let's say I put a building here, well, a building here that was 20 feet tall would be about that big. It'd be a little bit bigger. Yeah, Kimmy?
So you supposed to print out like in
What was that?
what you supposed to
Oh, I was. Okay, so I'll redraw my data a little lower. I didn't read the instructions. My mistake. Yeah.
So he is that tall, the nose is so close to the.
What was that?
He is this tall, and the nose is so close to the punching mark line because he's on top of the shoulder.
Right, exactly. So you guys see, this is also why this is important, because it lets you, if you understand the eye level, it lets you play games, basically. Now, you guys, this happens more, like I'm doing something a little bit different this semester. This is something I gave something similar to the 117 class, but I decided I wanted to give it to this class as well. Hi, Sammy. Cash, thanks, Sammy, do this. Run, Sammy, run while you can.
Oh, really?
So I'm gonna change what I was gonna have you guys do for the homework assignment, and I think I'm even gonna change what I had planned for Wednesday, because we didn't get deep enough into this for what I wanted to get to. We took too much time on the trip, which